Welcome to another podcast in which we'll be talking about James Mahu's essay, Wisdom of Incarnation. Sophia and Phil greet you from the microphone.
Hello to everyone.
The human brain can only process about 120 bits of information per second, yet somehow we're able to contemplate the infinite nature of existence. Today we're exploring why that limitation might actually be our greatest strength.
You know, Sophia, that's such a fascinating paradox. Our finite minds trying to grasp the infinite. It reminds me of trying to describe color to someone who's never seen it.
Well, Phil, what's really interesting is how this limitation might actually be by design. According to some fascinating perspectives, Earth isn't just another planet, it's essentially the most advanced learning environment in existence. Think of it as the ultimate cosmic university.
That's quite a bold claim. What makes Earth so special compared to other potential worlds?
So here's what's fascinating. It's actually the challenges and limitations we face here that make it unique. The frequency of separation, as it's called, is incredibly strong on Earth. It's like trying to remember a dream while being constantly distracted, yet that very struggle is what makes the learning so valuable.
That's exactly like what quantum physicists describe when they talk about decoherence, the way quantum systems lose their coherence when they interact with the environment.
Oh my goodness, yes. And here's where it gets even more mind-bending. We're not just talking about a single universe with one set of physical laws. Instead, we're looking at multiple universes, each potentially operating under different rules. It's like having infinite games, each with its own unique rulebook.
Well, that seems to challenge everything we think we know about physics. How can we make sense of anything if the rules keep changing?
You know what's fascinating about that? The emphasis isn't actually on understanding all these different systems. Instead, it's about developing what's called behavioral intelligence. Think about it. You could be the first person to understand string theory completely, but if you behave like a selfish jerk, what good is that knowledge?
So you're saying it's more about wisdom than pure knowledge?
Precisely. And here's where free will comes into play. It's described as the actual currency of existence, like the oxygen that keeps the whole system alive. Without free will, everything would be predetermined, making learning essentially meaningless.
That's quite profound. But doesn't all this unpredictability make it impossible to understand anything with certainty?
Well, that's actually part of the beauty of it. Life, especially when it emerges from what's called the sovereign integral level, is inherently unpredictable until it manifests in our space-time reality. It's like quantum particles existing in multiple states until observed.
You know, this reminds me of the latest research in consciousness studies. Scientists at the Max Planck Institute recently suggested that consciousness might be a fundamental property of the universe, not just an emergent phenomenon of brain activity.
That's such an important connection, and it ties perfectly into this idea that we're all essentially lenses of the one and all, each of us offering a unique perspective on the infinite. It's like we're all different windows looking out at the same vast landscape.
But how do we reconcile this grand cosmic perspective with our daily lives? It seems overwhelming.
Here's what I find most liberating about this whole concept. We don't need to understand everything to live purposefully. Just like you don't need to understand how a car engine works to drive effectively, we don't need to comprehend the entire cosmic structure to live in harmony with it.
That's actually quite comforting in a way. It takes the pressure off trying to figure everything out.
Exactly. And here's the real kicker. Love isn't about understanding the structure of existence. It's about living in harmony with it through our choices, beliefs, and creative expressions. It's like being part of a grand symphony without needing to understand music theory.
That's beautiful. It's both humbling and empowering at the same time.
Well, as we wrap up today's exploration, I think there's something profound in recognizing that our limitations might actually be our greatest teachers. Maybe the whole point isn't to understand everything, but to experience and engage with life fully, whatever that means for each of us.
You know what? That might be the most important lesson of all. That wisdom isn't about having all the answers, but about being at peace with the questions.
And on that note, let's leave everyone with this thought. Perhaps the greatest wisdom is knowing that we don't need to know everything to live meaningfully. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, but most importantly, keep engaging with life in all its beautiful mystery.
Yes, exactly. Now it's up to the listeners to study the essay for themselves, It will certainly help them to understand the concept of wisdom of incarnation in a deeper way. You can find the link in the text below the video.
Goodbye from the mic, Sophia.
Goodbye, Phil.